Juvenile.
Idiopathic arthritis.
1 in 1,000 children suffer with arthritis in the UK.
Arthritis ain't just for old people.
Any age can get the disease and takes one of many forms.
What is similar is the pain and frustration that affects us all.
My hands hurt. My toe hurt. It's not food. My hand, the clay. I beat so much. I can't. I'm having injection. It's not like injections.
A lot of families, when they're first given this diagnosis, are very surprised. Most people don't know that children even get arthritis. It's a sort of granny's or auntie's disease, but so they're surprised and they feel very isolated because chances are they won't know another child in school with it, or they won't know another family with it. The potential nowadays for really switching off childhood arthritis is there, and it wasn't for years. I mean, it used to be a terrible diagnosis, and a lot of these children would end up in a wheelchair, needing joint replacements, unable to get employment and so on, but we've got a really good armoury now of good treatments.
I've had arthritis since I was 1.5. I don't know any different. I just think it's normal to wake up not being able to walk.
I noticed she had trouble walking, and we thought maybe it's because that her shoes were a bit too small and she had a growth spurt. It just took them so long for them to diagnose it, because obviously it's just not a very common thing hearing that children have got arthritis.
I am Luke and I am 7 and I have arthritis. It's like a thing inside your knee and they have to do stuff to make it better.
We didn't know what JA was and we were really shocked that she had it. Really shocked. It was a real surprise. It took us a long time to get over it.
It's for young people and they don't know why it comes, and it can come and go at any time.
I was diagnosed when I was 7. It was quite bad. My wrists were swollen and that's how we first found out. I'd gone from being a normal, happy child to not really understanding it and having lots of things going on with me, doctors, hospital, new stuff, having to adapt. I describe it as everyone's a robot, but I'm just a little bit rusty.
Because when I first told my teacher, she was just like, how can you get that? And there's not enough awareness in the world for people to know that children can get it. So it's just a bit annoying that people don't know about it.
We can get the arthritis under excellent control with drugs, then that makes things a lot easier, but we also need to be thinking about physiotherapy input. Sometimes also psychology input is really important as well, and all these things have to link in with the school as well as the hospital.
I hate having the medication. I have to have a cannula in my arm and they put in the infliximab on a drip for about 3 hours.
Fridays are injection days, and so you do dread the days when you know you're going to have the medicines and try to put it off, but you can't.
They do injections and they do blood tests. The injections, because they really hurt, well, they make me feel a bit weird, funny in the tummy.
It's something that you can live with if you have the right medication and treatment. It's something that you just have to get on with.
There must be a drug that they can find that will solve all these problems, and I just wish they had more money to put into research, because it will transform children's lives.
A lot of our families are in denial to begin with, and it's vitally important that we educate them very quickly about how the disease can affect their child and the future. A lot of our children present with a swollen joint. That'll be the most obvious thing that they'll see is abnormal with their child initially. That joint may feel very warm, it will be very restricted, and the child unfortunately is normally in a lot of discomfort. The scenario of a 2-year-old who, you know, was walking brilliantly one day and then suddenly wakes up one day and can't do that. That's normally the scenario of the children we see, and the worry that it sets upon the parents initially. It sometimes takes time to find the right treatment for the child. And so during that kind of period of finding the right treatment, which for some can take a very long time, they are kind of left with pain, very painful days, very frustrating days, as well as having to attend hospital numerous times, have lots of injections, lots of blood tests, lots of investigations, and yet still they're still experiencing the pain that they got from day one.
I get flare-ups and I get really bad migraines and skin rashes, and sometimes it's really hard for me to walk or write because I have it pretty much in every joint.
It's not just the pain in the swollen joints. Even when she's not having a flare-up, she is still having problems with stiffness and lack of strength, really. Lack of stamina and strength in the muscles.
I have to go to the eye hospital regularly for an eye checkup, because if I don't and I don't keep on top of my medication, I could go blind.
I have uveitis. Well, I can see and I don't need glasses, but I test because there are these days that I affected it.
I didn't believe that children could suffer from it, and everyone that I've spoken to, my family, my friends, cannot believe that a child can have rheumatoid arthritis. And I think that's made it more difficult to come to terms with.
Sometimes when I go to appointments, my mum gets really sad, she starts crying because she gets upset.
To see him suffer for what we think is an older person's disease at such a young age, he's 9, is very hard to come to terms with.
Watching your child, as I said, get out of bed and she can hardly walk on her feet, she won't bend her ankles, she's complaining her hands hurt, we have to get her in the bath in the morning or the shower, try and get her moving. It is devastating, but I think then you have to get strong for her and just make it as normal.
Since I got the disease and since I found it out, my life has sort of gone downhill because I haven't been able to do most of the stuff that my friends could do.
If you just want to go to the beach for a day, maybe that day I will be fine and my joints will be okay. It's difficult and you do feel that you've changed them. That's not nice. You think the pain only affects you, but it does also affect others.
Very sad, extremely guilty. Obviously, because it's our child, we made her, and you know, this is what's happened.
They've always got to take time off of work to take me to hospital appointments.
Are you crying because you know it upsets your mum and dad? And that makes it really hard. My job role, then I get to see these patients, these children and their families initially, frequently. This enables me to see their true feelings, and I would say is one of the hardest parts of my jobs. These children suffer with immense pain in their joints, and the limitations of their abilities when they're having a disease flare is heartbreaking for them. To be able to do once what they could do regularly and then the next day they can't.
I can't do everything that my friends do, and sometimes I have good days and I have really bad days, and when I have a really bad day I have to cancel plans with my friends and they don't really understand.
It's hard when she wants to do things with her friends. She just has to learn, you know, what her body can and can't do, and I just have to stand back sometimes. One minute she can do something, that another day she might not be able to walk. You know, she could even do with a wheelchair sometimes to get around, and you know, people don't understand. But no, I didn't even know anything about children arthritis before Jasmine had arthritis.
I think she's quite embarrassed to start with, didn't want to tell anybody that she had it. Really embarrassed, she thought they were all going to say she had an old lady's disease.
I've told 2 of my friends, but I'm thinking about telling everyone when I go to secondary school.
Okay.
I think I might.
Why have you not told everybody so far?
In case they take it the wrong way.
My dad's got it, so he's really good with her. She loves my dad, it's like they bond. But there is other members of the family who just don't understand. Like they'll say, oh, can we take Bethany out for the day? And they're going for a long walk through the forest and stuff like that, and she's just not going to be able to do it. And I don't think they understand. And when you say, they're like, oh, can't she do it? And I'll be like, no, there's no way, because her ankles will obviously swell up and she just won't be able to keep up with everybody else.
I try not to let it stop me doing anything, because that frustrates me even more, especially if people are doing stuff and I can't join in, then you just get quite down and singled out. It's not fun.
We've had to put rails on the walls down the stairs because he struggled getting up and down the stairs. We have a wheelchair now that we take when we go out on day trips, so that we can, he may be running around to start with, by the end of it he can hardly move.
Sometimes it makes me not be able to do what other people can do, and it makes me really sad. I don't think they really understand it. I think they just don't really understand why some days I can play football and run about, and the next day I can't, and I just sit down or play.
When I first told all of my friends, which was really hard, they all said, most of them didn't believe me because they said that most old people had it, and then they said that their grandparents had it and everything, and they said it's not possible for children to have it, and you kind of feel like they don't believe you.
What I see when I spend time with them on a one-to-one basis is tears, emotion, anger, sadness, and it's so hard because there is no magical cure that I've got for that. You know, if they said to me, she's been sick with a medication, that's great, I have answers. I don't have answers for, you know, the frustration of pain in their joint. These children, even my little 2-year-olds, all the way up, they're heroes. There's no doubt about it. If I get out of bed and want to have a moan about my foot, kind of maybe think twice about that now. And as for their families, well, they're all fantastic too. They're all very strong characters. They're all very supporting.